Number 1. For this project, you will need some scissors, a paper towel, some rubbing alcohol, some rub-on letters, and this little plaque with a stand from the Dollar Tree. First thing that we are going to do is clean it off with the rubbing alcohol. Make sure we get all of the oils off of it so that it is nice and clean and our letters will stick to it well. Now we're going to get our letters out. This will be my first time working with these. And I am going to go ahead and cut out the letters that I want to use for this project. So I'm going to start with this B. The little plaque is going to say Boo Boulevard. And there is our first letter. And I'm gonna just go ahead and speed up this cutting out process really quick. Okay, everything is cut out and I'm just going to eyeball this and center it as best as I can, and you just peel the back off, the white part, and then you just place the letter where you want it to go. And I'm trying to do it loosely so that I can center these, but see how this goes. This is my first time working with these, like I said. It's very lightly sticky on the back side, and it wants to stick down to this surface already. Having a hard time getting this back off. I did notice while working with these that it's easier if you leave a little extra of the white area around it rather than cutting it really close to the letter. Because once you put the letter down and you rub the clear part, you peel that off, and all that's left is the black color for the letter itself. You got to make sure that you rub it really well before you pull off the clear part, and do it slowly because you pull off some of the letter with it if you don't get it rubbed down hard enough and pull off the clear part slow enough, like I'm doing right now. I tried to lay it back down, but it still pulled some of it off, so I just fixed it with a little bit of Sharpie. It helped. And that little period just stuck down without me even pressing on it. I think it needs a little bit more, so I am going to pick out something here from this sheet to go around it and embellish it a little bit more. Just going to press these down a little bit with my finger and make sure that they are on there all the way, since that L didn't want to stay down. These seem to be staying down better. And that clear piece just does not want to come off of there. Got it. Okay, so I'm going to use these bottom little decorative pieces off of each of these sheets, I think, for the just to fill in the surrounding area. It just looks too plain right now like that. There are 4 of them, so I'm just going to kind of put them around it. In a circular manner. Okay, I'm just going to move them around and see what position I think I might like. And I think we're going to go with that. Alright, those didn't go down exactly the way I wanted, but they are down. And now I am going to go ahead and cut out the other 2. Number 2. Okay, for this project, you will need some Spanish moss, this cute little mason jar that I found at Dollar General, and some LED tea lights, as well as these little cupcake picks. This one is quick and easy. Okay, so I just added some of the Spanish moss into my jar, and I've gotten some of the ghosts cupcake picks out, and I'm just breaking off the pick part, and I am going to put them in so that you can see them through the glass jar. Okay, so I have the jar about halfway full with the Spanish moss, and I put the tea light inside and I turned it on. And now I'm going to cover that with more of the Spanish moss just to fill the jar up the rest of the way. And once you've done that, you are finished. Screw the top on, and you have a little lantern with ghosts inside of it. I'll show you later on in better lighting how that looks. It's hard to see it here. Number 3. Okay, for this project you will need a 5x7 picture frame from the Dollar Tree and some black and orange construction paper, or like I've done here, I just printed out my own colored paper for this project. And so I'm just going to go ahead and cut off all of the extra white around my colors that I'm using so that I can cut them out easier and apply them to my frame easier as well. Okay, now that I have that cut out, I am just going to go ahead and remove this plastic off of my frame and get that opened up. This project is another really straightforward project. It's a quick project, and it has a really cute outcome. And it's also very inexpensive to make. I'm just going to take this solid black piece and I'm going to glue it down to the backboard that came with the frame. You can use a glue stick, you can use double-sided tape, but I am going to use my ATG gun. I love this stuff. I use it for everything. You can find the miniature ones at the craft stores if you're interested in getting one. I think Scotch makes them too. So I'm just going to stick that down onto my backer board, and that is the first step for this project. Now I'm going to take the orange piece and I'm going to grab my pencil And I'm just going to draw a triangle. Just lightly. It doesn't have to be dark, just enough for you to have a little pattern to copy. And there's my second triangle. And now I'm going to draw a mouth, because we are drawing a jack-o'-lantern face. So you can draw this mouth however you like. And now that we have that all drawn out, I am just going to take my scissors and I am going to cut these shapes out. Okay, now that I have those cut out, I'm just going to put these two triangles together. They are almost exact, but I want to make them more identical to each other, so I'm just going to line them up and cut off any extra paper that might be there so that they match up with each other. And now that I have that finished, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my black piece and I am going to arrange my orange pieces on there. And I'm just going to use a little bit of ATG again so that I can stick them down. Okay, so I have the mouth on there now, and we're just going to go ahead and put this into the frame. Alright, that's how it's going to look. But I can see one of the foam pieces from behind the little mat board piece, and it doesn't want to slide back up, so I'm going to go ahead and take this out. And I'm going to stick these all down using my ATG again. That way they won't move anymore. It looks like they were glued, but the glue didn't stay, so it's not holding them there. Number 4. for this project, you will need another Dollar Tree frame. And I just went online and I found a cute little witch on a broom picture that I liked, and I printed that out. And this one is pretty simple. I am going to use the back part of the frame to cut out the piece of witch paper the same size as the frame. I'll just use this piece of paper actually. It's the same size. Just as a guide, so I can easily cut this to the correct size without any measuring tape. Okay, and you can see it fits right into the frame now. Just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to ATG this piece of paper down and these foam pieces, since they are not glued down. And then I'm just going to use my markers to color in the eyes and the mouth of this jack-o'-lantern so that it looks like it is lit and lighting her way. Okay, and I am going to get the rub-on transfer letters back out again, and I will be using them for this project as well. This one is going to say Witches In, and it's going to be a play on words from what you see a lot, The Witch Is In. But instead it's going to be Witches In, like a hotel would be. And I'm just going to use the letters that I have left. Number 5. Okay, so for this project, you will need an empty Cholula Tabasco sauce bottle. And I liked this bottle because it had the cute little round wooden top to it. You'll need some food coloring, and you'll need some poison images. I found this image online and printed it off. This is not a Dollar Tree project, but I really liked it and thought I would add it to this video. Okay, so we're just going to remove all of the old labels as much as we can. And once we get those off, we can start cutting out our poison labels and applying them to our cleaned bottle. Okay, so I got that most of the way off. I used my X-Acto knife or my box cutter knife to scrape off as much as I could, and now I'm gonna add some green food coloring. I also went ahead and cut my poison label out off camera. So I'm gonna add about 5 drops to the water that is already existing in the bottle that I put there before we started this video. And I'm going to put the lid on there, and then I'm going to shake that up, and you see it turns a nice color of green. And now I'm going to get my ATG out again, and I am just going to put it around the edges of this label on the back side, and I'm going to go all the way around to make sure it has a good seal around the edges of this paper, because I want it to stay on all the way around without any lifting. And then I'm going to place it right over exactly where the old label was on this bottle to cover up what's left of the remaining label. And I'm just going to roll it on with my fingers and push it down, make sure it's flat and no ripples are in there. And there's that part. And now I'm going to take the little neck piece that I made, and I am going to do the same thing. I'm going to put some ATG on it, just on a little bit of it, because I don't want to stick it all the way down yet. I want to make sure it fits right first. And the original label wasn't even on there very straight. It's the shape of the bottle, I think, that's keeping it from going on straight, but I'm going to get it as straight as I can. And then once I figure out how I want it on there, I'm going to cut off all of this extra and put some glue down so that it will stay. Number 6. Alright, for this project you will need some watered down Elmer's glue, an empty tomato sauce jar, some twine, some LED tea lights, and some napkins. All of these can be found at Dollar Tree. Okay, so I'm just going to open these napkins and take one out. I will only be needing one, so these napkins can be used for some Halloween place settings later on if I wanted to use them for that. And I'm just going to spread it out as flat as I can. And then I'm just going to cut a section off that I will be using for this project. Alright, I have my piece cut out now, and I'm going to grab my jar and I'm just going to lay it on top to see how it is going to fit and determine placement. It looks like it's going to fit pretty good. And now I'm just going to start applying my water and glue mixture to get it started. I'm going to put it directly onto the glass jar and the napkin that's going underneath to help it start sticking on there. And then I'm just going to go around the entire jar and saturate all of the glass underneath the napkin with the glue. This way it will ensure that it stays on good on the underside. Once I go all the way around, I'll just roll this back on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick down this top part as well with my glue. And once we get that done, we're just going to go around this entire jar and saturate the entire napkin to make sure that it gets good adhesion. Get it nice and wet. You want to get a lot of adhesion up at the top and the bottom of the napkin to make sure that it doesn't come off. Make sure it stays down. Just going to go around the whole jar and do the whole thing this way. And then once you get it all wet and stuck down, you just want to go through and make sure there's no air bubbles in there, and just lightly rub them out with your fingers from the middle up to the top or down to the bottom, either way. That way it is nice and tight on your glass. And once you get all of the air bubbles out, you're just going to put it down upside down and let that dry completely. Okay, now that our jar is completely dry and we can handle it without getting glue all over us, we're going to grab our twine, and you can buy the thick twine too. I just had the thinner twine already, so that's what I'm going to use. And I am just going to wrap the top part of the jar where all of the thread is at with the twine until I have completely covered the threads. Okay, so once I've completely wrapped all of the threads with the twine and they are totally covered, I'm just going to tie a little knot in the spot where I want the front to be. So you got to pick, your spot that you want to use, the best part of your picture that you like to be the front of your jar, and just tie your little knot there. Once you have your knot tied on, you can take your watered down glue again and go over your twine with your glue, and that will harden it so it doesn't come off of the top anymore. And now all that you do is add your little tea light, and look how cute that is. Number 7. Okay, for this project you will need some of the spider webbing from the Dollar Tree, some black paint, some cauldrons from the Dollar Tree. I found this cute little light up ornament at the Dollar Tree. If I can get it to turn on. There we go. And I grabbed one of these glass bowls and a mirrored coaster that we're going to be using for this project. Alright, so I'm going to just move all of these things away, and for the first part of this project I am going to go ahead and grab this light up ornament that I found, and I am going to paint this with the black paint. Okay, now I'm going to let this dry, and I'm going to move it over to the side. I'm going to grab the cauldrons and go ahead and assemble this part of the project. I am only going to use 3 out of 4 of these cauldrons in this little bag. And I am going to first decide how I want them to sit. And there are little words on there, so you want to make sure that you put all the words facing the back side so that you don't have them showing in the front when you're finished. And I'm just going to grab some of the spider webbing, and we're going to use that as the bubbles and boiling coming out of the cauldrons. I'm going to put a little bit of it in all 3 of them, and then I'm just going to grab a little bit of hot glue, and I want to make sure my little handles are in the right place as well. But I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue on the edge of the bottom cauldron, and then I'm going to place my second cauldron on there and hold it until it sticks. And I'm kind of giving them a teetering effect, so they will look like they're about to spill over. You just got to hold it for a couple of seconds. Make sure that the hot glue is mostly dry before you let it go so it stays on there. Okay, and now that that is dry, I'm going to go ahead and add some of our bubbles to the second cauldron. Get them arranged how I want them to be sitting. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the third cauldron. We'll go ahead and put those bubbles in there. It's looking pretty good, just like I had in mind. Okay, so this part is finished, and this is how they look right now. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the next part of this project. So I am going to go ahead and fill this glass bowl with some of our spider webbing. And now that that's filled, I'm going to go ahead and flip it over, and I'm going to use the bottom part of this. As you can see, it's flat. This is going to have a crystal ball effect, but since it's flat, I am going to cover that up by gluing these cauldrons that I just did onto the top of that. And they will have a platform to sit on, while this has the effect of a crystal ball. So I'm just going to glue those on now and hold that there for a second so they don't fall off. And this project is nearly finished. It is looking so good. I'm so excited. All right, I'm just going to go back to this ornament again, and I'm going to take a smaller brush and grab my black paint, and I'm going to go into all of these little cutouts and just paint all of those little edges black so that you can't see any more of the bare wood on the front or in the crevices of the design. All right, now everything is dried. I'm going to go ahead and grab this mirror, and I'm going to leave this string on here because I may use this ornament for something later if I decide to. So I'm going to leave it on there, and I'm just going to hide it in the back. And I'm going to put some hot glue down on the top, and I'm going to go ahead and glue this mirror down to the top of the light up ornament. And now that that is on there, this project is basically done. I am going to go ahead and put the rest of it together, and I will show you how it looks. I am not going to glue the glass globe onto the mirror because I am going to add some green lights into the crystal ball after I set it up. So I want that to be free from glue so that I can add those lights in there. And this is what it looks like. Number 8. For this project, I found this tin memo board at Dollar Tree, and these stencils, pumpkins. I have a cauldron left over. I also have these flowers, Halloween flowers, and some bat and spider rings that I picked up from the Dollar Tree, as well as these little brooms. I haven't decided which ones I'm going to incorporate into this project yet, but I'm going to decide as I go along. I thought about using my Staedtler markers with this project and those stencils, but I don't know if they're going to smear on this tin or not. I think they probably are, so I might switch to paint instead. I am just going to test one really quick and see what happens. I already know that I want this to say Happy Halloween, so I'm just going to try and H out and see what we get. It looks good, but but it's not going to work. It's going to smear. So instead, I'm going to use a combination of painting with the stencils. And I really need a sponge, but I don't have any right now, so I'm just going to try and blot this on there. And the rub-on transfer letters and see how that works out. I'm just going to try and center this as best as I can. I'm going to put the first letter and the last letter of happy and then work inwards to try and keep this as centered as possible. Okay, so I did all of happy with the stencils, so I am going to use some of these rub-on letters now, and I am going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the first letter and the exclamation point to do my best to keep it centered, and I think I'm going to do a mixture of the rub-on letters and the stencil for Halloween. And see how that turns out. I went ahead and pre-cut out all of the rub-on letters just to save some time. Okay, so all of our letters are on here, and I did end up with a little bit of a gap between the W and the E, so I'm just going to find something to put there to fill in that gap as I go along. That's the good thing about crafting. You can make mistakes and fix them along the way. So what do I want to do now? I think that I am going to use this cauldron. And I will glue it down to the corner of the frame. This bottom corner looks good. I think that's what I will do. And I will put some more of the spider webbing inside of that little cauldron. So we have some bubbles. And I'm just gonna glue it down on this bottom right corner here. And again, you just want to make sure that you're putting the right side down because they have words on them, little trademark words, so you want that to be on the back. And I moved my little handle to the front also so that it will be visible. I'm just going to line the bottom of the cauldron up here with the bottom of the frame. I think it needs to go up a little bit actually. And yeah, I think that looks better. Just gotta hold it for a second so it can dry. And I think I'm gonna use just this little piece that's on this flower bouquet here. And I'll put it behind it. Kind of like that. That'll look neat. Just gotta get a little glue behind there. I don't want to burn my finger. It's hot. That's gonna look good. Just gotta get this to stay. Might need a little bit more glue. Alright, so I've got that on there, and I'm going to go ahead and use some of these little leafy pieces off of the flower bouquet too. I'm just going to cut the plastic little peg off on the back so it'll sit flatter on here. And I will go ahead and put that on the opposite upper corner. And I'm going to use one of these pumpkins, and I'm just going to cut the wire off of it because I won't need that, and I will hot glue it on top of these little black leaves that I just glued on. I think that'll look good. I also used a little bat ring out of that pack of plastic rings, and glued it in between my W and my E's to help fill in that gap. I have a spider. I might put it in the cauldron. I think that one's too big. I'm going to use one of the rings. And I'll just stuff that in there. I don't even have to cut the ring piece off of there. It'll help hold it in. It'll look like there's a spider crawling out of the cauldron. And I'm just going to adjust this a little bit so that you can see the spider better. There's a little hidden there. There we go. I'm just going to clean my fingerprints off of here. And I think I'm going to use some of the moss along the bottom here of the frame just to make it look a little bit more like the ground where the cauldron is at. Yeah, that'll look good. I'm just gonna hot glue it in a few spots just to keep it on there. Spread it out across the bottom here, and once I like the way it looks, I'll go ahead and glue it down. And for the last bit, I think just to fill it in a little, I'm going to use some of these rings and put some little bats around these open spaces, and maybe a spider, and I think that will finish this one up. Number 9. So I have these pumpkins that I found at the end of the season at Dollar General last year, and this little tin bucket, and I'm going to go ahead and use these for the next project. This one is very straightforward and easy to do, as well as inexpensive. I'm just going to use a round piece of craft foam here, and I'm going to glue it to the bottom of the tin bucket. And then I am going to use my pumpkins. I only have one orange one and I have 2 black ones, so I'm going to arrange them so that they look good. And I'm gonna put some of this moss in here over my foam. Just glue it down real quick. And for the first part, I'm just going to place this so that you don't see the words, and I'll leave them in the back, and that way I can reuse this little bucket if I want to. But I'm going to cut off all these labels, and I'm going to go ahead and glue the first pumpkin down. like this. And I'm going to put another one on top of it. And actually, I think I need to rearrange these. So I'm probably going to pull this one off. And I need to cut the stem off so that I can glue a pumpkin on top of it, like that, without it getting in the way. Okay, I went ahead and pulled that pumpkin off and switched them around. I have a black one and then an orange one and then another black one on top. And I haven't decided if I'm going to use these little brooms yet. They've been following me through the whole video. I don't know if I'm going to use them on this project or not. I don't know. It might look okay. But I don't think I'm going to use them on this one. I think I'll use them on another project. And this is how the pumpkin topiary came out. Number 10. Okay, this one is too big for me to do on camera, so I'm just going to show you these things that we're going to be using. I found a cinnamon broom. I love these. I use them every year for fall, and I'm going to use one for Halloween this year. And I found these cute little witch legs and feet at the Dollar Tree, along with these mesh decorative coverings, table coverings. I guess that's what they are. And I'm going to be using those. I've got this hat that I'm going to be using. It's a witch hat. I couldn't find any black ones, so I went with the spider webs. And I found this black wig at Walmart. I couldn't find any wigs at the Dollar Tree. I might use this one, but I also got these cool salad tongs. They're skeleton hands that I'm going to be using at the Dollar Tree. And I found these ribbons at the Dollar Tree, and I will just use the bottom little curly pieces if I do use these instead of the wig for this project. So to start, I want these legs to be not so floppy. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a slit at the top near this little hoop. And I am going to stuff them with Dollar Tree bags. Just making a little hole at the top, and then I'm going to grab my bag and I'm just going to stuff it in. Just to give these legs some body instead of being so floppy. Okay, I've got both legs stuffed with Dollar Tree bags, and now I'm just going to take my hot glue gun and I am going to glue these holes closed. I am just going to use my scissors to hold these closed so I don't burn my fingers. And we have our witch legs, and they are much stiffer now, not so floppy, and they are ready to go. Now I'm going to pull the hat out. I'm going to cut this label off, and I'm going to do the same thing with the hat so that it will stay pointed. I'm just going to stuff it with bags. Alright, and now for these salad tongs, I am going to use some pipe cleaner. I'm going to cut one in half, and then I'm just going to fold that in half and loop it and twist that. And I'm going to wrap these around on some of the fattest points of these tongs to create a hanging hook for these. Since they are salad tongs, they don't have anything to hang them with. And I am going to be using them as arms. So I need something to hold them on. So I'm going to put some on each end of each one. And then I will probably put one more on a little bit higher up, just in case I need more than one to hold them onto this project. Once I finish with this part, I am going to start assembling this project. And I am going to assemble it piece by piece and show you step by step how I'm doing it. Alright, so I am using thumbtacks, and first I just hung the broom on the wall. And then I put the hat up above the broom just to give me placement. And I decided to go with the ribbons, so I went ahead and used those at the bottom brim of the hat. And after that, I got the cheesecloth out and started fashioning her dress. I made the sleeves with 2 of them, folded in half, and then I went ahead and pinned up the hands as well for reference. Once I did that, I went ahead and made the skirt part. And after I added the skirt part, I went ahead and I added the legs on there. And that's how it looks. And then I lowered the hat a little bit to fit her body size. And that was all. Here she is. And now I will show you how everything looks all set up with daylight and after dark. If you've made it this far into today's video, I hope that you enjoyed all of the projects that I shared with you today. And if you see any projects that you would like to check out that were not featured in today's video, I will leave links in the description below so that you can easily find the videos for those projects. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe before you go. And I will see you on the next one. Happy Halloween!